One of the things about the January 6th committee hearing, report finally coming out, and the transcripts, which I have been going through along with reading John Paul McIsaac's ridiculous book, which is hilarity upon hilarity, is the fact that, quite frankly, there were a bunch of Trump, supporters, Trumpistan, leading voices in the maggot world that didn't so much buy the whole rigged and stolen election thing. And then as January 6th happened, they tended to jump ship. Like, they were like, all right, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but this is kind of embarrassing and lame. But once January 6th happened, they were like, oh, on second thought, fuck this. This is terrible. And when, I guess, either they were interviewed themselves or other people around them were interviewed who had conversations with them or had texted with them, and their texts had been supplied to the committee, apparently word has gotten out that people like Sean Hannity never believed the voter fraud bullshit coming out of Trump world. And it's very upsetting for Mike Pillow. Very upsetting. Mike Pillow is very upset about this. Apparently, you can't trust anybody. He's a rhino, just like Mitch McConnell. It's with friends like these. Who needs
now, everybody,
my pillows?
This just came out. I can't tell you how upset I am with.
Sure, you can. Try. Come on, give it to us. We'd love to hear it.
Sean Hannity, but I knew it all along. I'm going to tell you a little story.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's the other thing too is. People who they counted on as standard bearers for Trump and his crowd, I always knew they were full of shit. That's now the new refrain. It's the same thing with everybody who's supposedly a rhino because they voted for a budget.
Here before I show you this.
Yeah, God, please do not. What's he going to show us? I'm afraid. Secondly, nice to know that he is, I guess he's using his FaceTime camera as an alternate camera attached to a monitor or a stand over here for doing, what's he, TikToking now?
I was at Sean's house actually about a year and a half ago. It's the summer of 21.
Yes, when the world had been destroyed and there was no hope and no future. And
we were there for some big radio get together. And as we went to leave, my gal was there with me, and we were like the last two. And Sean's
you were somebody threw a party and you were the last ones to leave. Shocker.
Looked at her and said, "Don't you care about him? Don't you care about him?" She said, "What do you mean?" He says, "They're going to come after him. They're coming after him. He's got just quit talking about these machines and talk about this this election."
Yes, Sean Hannity works for Fox News, who is being sued for $2 billion or $1.2 billion for furthering the Dominion lawsuut. And if they're willing to come after Fox fucking News, you damn straight they're going to come after this dickhead because he paid for it. He not only said it, but he paid money to travel the country and paid other people to say it. He built his own network just so he could shit on Dominion.
And I'm thinking
he was trying to do you a favor, numbnuts.
Now that I look back, I'm
thinking, gee, maybe I'm a gullible fuck. Maybe, just maybe, Sean Hannity, with all of his flaws, is trying to save me from myself. Maybe I got suckered into this bullshit by people like Brennan, who always has his fucking hand in my pocket. Maybe that's why. Maybe all my movies have gone nowhere because they're bullshit. Nah.
Now, why would Sean want me, if they're going to...
Why would Sean not want you to be sued for billions of dollars and made destitute? I don't know. Honestly, if you were the last person to leave my party, I might not give you that advice.
Come and hurt me, or somebody is, and he's telling me this. If there's nothing to hide, Brandon, what would it matter, right?
Right.
No. Sean Hannity had nothing to hide. He knew there was no there. He didn't believe it. So again, this goes to the stuff we saw with the Twitter files. Sean Hannity, who, for the record, is an asshole, in good faith, tried to save this guy from himself. He's like, look, I go on the TV and we protect Trump all we want. But at a certain point, you got to cut bait. And in this particular instance, you're fucked, dude. There's no there, dummy. And it's not that you're just yammering. You built this network so you could attack Dominion. That's what this is about. So your investment makes the lawsuit even more valuable to them, even more specifically useful to them in a way of attacking what you're doing. Because it's not just a random American, no matter what you do at whatever financial level you are, just yammering what you think about something, because you'd never be able to get sued in that situation. The fact is that he paid money to go on networks and invested in making them give him a space to go and tell this shit, both on RAV, on Bannon's fucking, they're overlapped. He even brought Bannon to the Lindell network and had the War Room air on there. He's up to his neck in the finances of this bullshit.
You kind of got to think of that. And I'm going, and I told Sean, I said,
why start now?
Sean, I said, you said, this happened. And
no, he doesn't.
I said, I can't unsee what I've seen and unknow what I know.
You don't know anything, and you haven't seen what you think you've seen. This has been a mirage of your own making. You are drinking sand, you fucking putz.
I said, and we're arguing back and forth.
Great. That part I don't have a problem with. The idea that Sean Hannity and Mike Pillow were yelling at each other in Sean Hannity's foyer is awesome.
Going, Sean, you should be talking about it on Fox News. You should be out there talking about this. You're going to lose our country. You're going to be to blame.
Yes, I blame Sean Hannity as well. There's, Mike Pillow's having a broken clock moment.
And Sean says, well, Mike, would it be, if we weren't there at all, just because we can't talk about this, if we weren't there at all, it'd be worse. I go, no, it would not be worse.
Yes, and watch while I build a network that's worse and pay for two others, because he's the foundational payments behind RSBN and OAN. Both of them basically float on My Pillow ads.
I said the people trusted Fox to tell, at least to tell the
story.
News.
Well, yeah, that was the problem, is that they always had to fall back on actual news.
But when you have a list of what you can't talk about.
Yes, mostly things that are lies and libelous that will get you sued, and you don't have a defense against those libel claims, you kind of should either do some investigative reporting, I think, and if there was a there, you would have found it, but they didn't, because they had access to everybody, including him and Rudy Giuliani and the White House and Trump himself. So any information that those guys had found, Fox would have had access to that stuff. So if there was any there at all, they would have been able to push back against the libel claims. They can't. And that should tell you something.
Vaccines are therapeutics that work. You can't talk about, have a conversation about the vaccines. You can't talk about therapy.
You can have conversations about the vaccines. Unless you're having it, I guess, with Robert F. Kennedy and attempting to get people to murder themselves for some sort of weird cause.
And you certainly can't talk about the elections or the machines. So, and the reason I'm bringing up Sean Hannity.
Well, because he's an asshole. I mean, it's good that you bring him up.
Hannity, because here's what he said in his deposition. I believe it was this week. Go ahead, Brandon. Show it on the screen.
Here it is right here. Sean Hannity admits he didn't believe Dominion voting fraud claims for a second. In a sworn deposition.
Blow it up there so you can read a little bit there. Go down. Now.
Yeah. Thank you. High quality. By the way, congratulations. They finally achieved a minor technological advancement, which is build a frame like I do here in fucking Photoshop. It's a PNG file. Leave this part of it blank, and then you can put any file behind it, and it's available as an overlay. You can just make them yourself. It didn't take much, did it? I guarantee this was millions of dollars that Brannon House was leeching out of Mike Pillow. And since Mike Pillow isn't a gullible sap, he's an asshole, I don't kind of mind. But look how long it took him.
That's disgusting, Sean Hannity.
And by the way, it's disgusting, Sean Hannity, who is not watching. Also, can you scoot the entire frame up so that people don't have to... I mean, I do this all the time, but you'll notice, like, your tabs and all that stuff, it just looks like shit. Like, I know I have to adjust sometimes, but have a little class, man.
You should say nothing if you don't know anything.
You should say nothing if you don't know anything. Wow, I understand why Mike Pillow would take that personally.
Sean, you've had all the time in the world. You're supposed to be a journalist. No,
he isn't. He's never been a journalist, dumb fuck. He's kind of an opinion anchor man. I don't even know what the actual... He's a talk show host. Like, all of the Fox opinion shows are just that. They've defended them in court as entertainment. He was never a journalist.
You know what happened in the election, Sean.
Yes, he knows that Trump lost.
Shame on you, and shame on Fox. Look at that.
In a sworn deposition in Dominion Voting Services $1.6 billion defamation
Oh, 1.6. I was off by 0.4 billion. Chump change.
lawsuit against Fox News, primetime host Sean Hannity admitted that he never bought former President Trump's allegations that the voting hardware company rigged tabulation machines to, quote, steal, end quote, the 2020 election from him. Quote, I did not believe it for 1 second, end quote, the primetime anchor testified, according to information released in a court hearing on Wednesday and first reported by the New York Times.
Which is mainstream media and they can't be trusted, so he probably didn't say that, and I don't believe it for a second.
I wonder if Sean works with the New York Times.
Well, you do, dipshit. This is the same shit Ben Shapiro does, and all these guys. Like, this is Jimmy Dore does this shit too. Talk shit about the mainstream media. Always use them as your quotable source. Have at least, like, I don't care what your standard is, but fucking stick to it.
You got to kind of wonder now. I mean, this is just, Sean, if you don't know, why don't you just keep your mouth shut? It's unbelievable. Either that or he's lying. When he told me at his house, he said straight out, Brandon, he said, they're going to come after you. Who are they?
Dominion. That's who he meant. And you know what? They fucking did, dummy.
I didn't know who they were. But Mike, just quit talking about this election. Let it...
No. He didn't say stop talking about the election, stupid. He said stop talking about the machines. But you're so fucking stupid and so dug in and so stubborn that you just hear what you think he's saying just so you can be mad at him. This is not that I don't know why I'm fucking policing these shitty, half-assed right-wing friendships that like are all utilitarian, no real deep meaning to them. Hi, everybody.
Go, Mike.
Hi, chat.
Let it go, he said.
Yeah, because they need you as a sponsor. That's why. He doesn't give a fuck about you, dummy. He wants you to stop so that you can have things will quiet down and then you can start buying ads on Fox again. That's why. He just wants your money. Just like Brannon does, but Brannon doesn't give a fuck if he's there gnawing on your carcass like a vulture at the end. Sean Hannity wants the ad buys to have some legs.
He tells her, he says, don't you care about him? Don't you care what happens for him? He says, Sean, we have to save our country.
He said that? Wait a minute. Your girlfriend is a he? All right. There's nothing wrong with that. It's, good for you. Look at that. See, we've all opened up on something today.
And I'll never forget his words saying, just because we can't talk about that, what if we weren't there at all? And that, and I say to that, everybody, what's worse? If you trusted Fox News at one time, and they won't tell you the stuff that went on out there with the vaccines, all the stuff, the problems that they had out there with people, they didn't tell about therapeutics that worked, and then they didn't talk about our election. Remember, It wasn't just machines, everybody.
By the way, I'm racking my brain and I cannot figure out why Fox News wouldn't want to talk their viewers out of getting vaccinated. I don't know why they think that business model would be damaging to their bottom line. I'm trying to consider. I mean, I know it's not because they give a fuck. I know it's not because they're worried about, like, oh my God, these people might die. No. It's just that dead people don't watch catheter ads.
Fox wouldn't talk about. They wouldn't even let 2,000 meals on there, and those were government cameras pointing on people committing felonies.
No, they weren't. None of those people were committing felonies. No, none of those people. They've all been interviewed by the press. They've all been talked to by Raffensperger's office. Everybody who's been involved in that. Some of them even came forward themselves. By the way, this motherfucker thinks that backpack guy in 2,000 Mules is a real person, just like Trump does. Well, he's a real person, but is not an actor, is not performing. What? Breaking Mike Pillow is what? Mike Pence just filed to run for president in 2024. Hilarious. I look forward to the videos that will be coming from the right in total support of Mike Pence, a man who stood strong right next to Donald Trump up until the point that Trump fucking lost. Okay, and that's the end of it. That's his tail end. Shit. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide.